Shabbat Shalom. Well, it's going to be an interesting evening because we are reading the Hakutim and Balak Torah portions this week. And Zelig is in a mood, I'm telling you. He will not leave this ball alone. So we may get interrupted by a little bit of ball play through the evening. So just grab your Bibles and let's get started on our Torah portion this week. It's going to be Numbers 19, verse 1 through chapter 25, verse 9. Then we're going to go into Micah, chapter 5, verse 7 to chapter 6, verse 8. Then we'll jump to the back of the book to 2 Peter. And we'll go chapter 2, verse 14 to 22, and 13, verses 17 and 18. So, let me throw the ball the one time real quick, because he's dropped it right at my feet. And there we go. Let's get started. Page 162 for Numbers, starting in chapter 19. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe unto Aaron, saying, This is a law of the Torah which Yahweh has commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Israel that they bring you a red heifer, a perfect one, in which there is no blemish, and on which no yoke, and on which a yoke has never come. And you shall give it to Eleazar the priest, and he shall bring it outside the camp, and shall slay it before him. And Eleazar the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger, and sprinkle some of its blood 7 times toward the front of the tent of appointment. And the heifer shall be burned before his eyes. He burns its hide, its flesh, its blood, and its dung. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet, and throw them into the midst of the fire, burning the heifer. The priest shall then wash his garments, and shall bathe his body in water, and afterwards come into the camp. But the priest is unclean until evening. And he who is burning it washes his garments with water, and shall bathe his body in water, and is unclean until evening. And a clean man shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and shall place them outside the camp in a clean place. And they shall keep for the congregation of the children of Israel for the water, for the uncleanness. It is for cleansing from sin. And he who gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his garments, and is unclean until evening. And it shall be a law forever to the children of Israel, and to the sojourner who sojourns in their midst. He who touches the dead of any human being is unclean for 7 days. He is to cleanse himself with the water on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he is clean. And if he does not cleanse himself on the 3rd day, then on the 7th day he is not clean. Anyone who touches the dead of a human being and does not cleanse himself defiles the dwelling place of Yahweh. And that being shall be cut off from Israel. He is unclean. For the water for uncleanness was not sprinkled on him. His uncleanness is still upon him. This is the Torah when a man dies in a tent. All who come into the tent and all who are in the tent are unclean for 7 days. And every open vessel which has no covering fastened to it is unclean. Anyone in the open field who touches someone slain by a sword, or who has died, or a bone of a man, or a burial site, is unclean for 7 days. And for the unclean being, they shall take some of the ashes of the heifer, burnt for cleansing for sin, and running water shall be put on them in a vessel. And a clean man shall take hyssop and dip it in the water, and shall sprinkle it on the tent and all the vessels, and on the beings who were there, or on the ones who touched a bone, or the slain, or the dead, or a burial site. And the clean one shall sprinkle the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day he shall cleanse himself, and shall wash his garments, and bathe in water, and shall be clean in the evening. But the man who is unclean and does not cleanse himself, that being shall be cut off from among the assembly, because he has defiled the set-apart place of Yahweh. Water for uncleanness has not been sprinkled on him. He is unclean. And it shall be a law for them forever. And the one who sprinkles the water for the uncleanness washes his garments, and the one who touches the water for uncleanness is unclean until evening. And whoever the unclean being touches is unclean, and the being who touches it is unclean until evening. And the children of Israel, all the congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the first new moon, and the people stayed in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. Now there was no water for the congregation, and they assembled against Moshe and against Aharon. And the people contended with Moshe and spoke, saying, "If only we had died when our brothers died before Yahweh. Why have you brought up the assembly of Yahweh into the wilderness, that we and our livestock should die here? And why have you brought us up out of Mitzrayim to bring us to this evil place, not a place of grain or figs or wine or pomegranates, and there is no water to drink?" Then Moshe and Aharon went from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tent of appointment, and they fell on their faces, and the esteem of Yahweh appeared to them. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Take the rod and assemble the congregation, you and your brother Aharon, and you shall speak to the rock before their eyes, and it shall give its water, and you shall bring water for them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their livestock." And Moshe took the rod from before Yahweh as he commanded him. And Moshe and Aharon assembled the assembly before the rock, and he said to them, "Hear now, you rebels, shall we bring water for you out of this rock?" Then Zelig. Then Moshe lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with the rod, and much water came out, and the congregation and their livestock drank. But Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, "Because you did not believe me to set me apart in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you do not bring this assembly into the land which I've given them." These were the waters of Meribah, because the children of Israel contended with Yahweh, and he was set apart among them. And Moshe sent messengers from Kadesh to the sovereign of Edom. "This is what your brother Israel said. You know all the hardship that has befallen us, that our fathers went down to Mitzrayim, and we dwell in Mitzrayim a long time. And the Mitzrites did evil to us and our fathers. And we cried out to Yahweh, and he heard our voice and sent the messenger and brought us up out of Mitzrayim. And see, we are in Kadesh, the city on the edge of your border. Please let us pass over through your land. We shall not pass over through fields or vineyards, nor drink water from wells. We shall go along the sovereign's highway. We shall not turn aside, right or left, until we have passed over your border. But Edom said to him, You do not pass through me, lest I come out against you with my sword. And the children of Israel said to him, We shall go by the highway, and if I or my livestock drink any of your water, then I shall pay for it. Let me only pass over on foot, without a word. But he said, You do not pass over. And Edom came out against them with many men and with a strong hand. And when Edom refused to let Israel pass over through his border, Israel turned away from him. And the children of Israel and all the company departed from Kadesh and came to Mount Hor. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon in Mount Hor, near the border of the land of Edom, saying, Aharon is to be gathered to his people, for he is not to enter the land which I have given to the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my mouth at the water of Meribah. Take Aharon and Eleazar, his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aharon of his garments, and put them on Eleazar, his son. For Aharon is to be gathered to his people and die there. And Moshe did as Yahweh commanded, and they went up to Mount Hor before the eyes of the congregation. And Moshe stripped Aharon of his garments and put them on Eleazar, his son. And Aharon died there at the top of the mountain. And Moshe and Eleazar came down from the mountain. And when all the congregation saw that Aharon was dead, all the house of Israel wept for Aharon 30 days. And the sovereign of Arad, the Canaanite, who dwelt in the south, heard that Israel was coming on the way to Athorim, and he fought against Israel and took some of them captive. Then Israel made a vow to Yahweh and said, If you deliver this people into my hand indeed, then I shall put their cities under the ban. And Yahweh listened to the voice of Israel and gave up the Canaanites, and they put them and their cities under the ban. So the name of that place was called Hormah. And they departed from Mount Hor by the way of the Sea of Reeds to go around the land of Edom. But the being of the people grew impatient because of the way, and the people spoke against Elohim and against Moshe. Why have you brought us out of Egypt, out of Mitzrayim, to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and our being loathes the light bread. And Yahweh sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Israel died. Then the people came to Moshe and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against Yahweh and against you. Pray for Yahweh to take away the serpents from us. So Moshe prayed on behalf of the people. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Make a fiery serpent and set it on a pole. And it shall be that everyone who is bitten, when he looks at it, shall live. So Moshe made a bronze serpent and put it on a pole. And it came to be, if a serpent had bitten anyone, then when he looked at the bronze serpent, he lived. And the children of Israel set out and camped at Oboth. And they departed from Oboth and camped in Eri-ha-Abarim, and the wilderness which is east of Moab, toward sunrise. From there they set out and camped at the Wadi Zered. From there they set out and camped on the other side of the Arnon, which is in the wilderness that extends from the border of the Amorites. For the Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore it is said in the book of the battles of Yahweh, Wahib in Suphah, the Wadi Arnon, and the slope of the wadi that turns aside to the dwelling of Ar, and lies on the border of Moab, and from there on to the air, which is the well where Yahweh said to Moshe, gather the people, and let me give them water. Israel then sang this song, spring up, O well, sing to it, a well the leaders sank, which the nobles of the people dug with their staves by the word of the inscriber. Then from the wilderness on to Mattanah, from Mattanah to Nahaliel, from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth to the valley that is in the country of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looks down on the wasteland. And Israel sent messengers to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, saying, let me pass through your land. We shall not turn off into fields or vineyards. We shall not drink water from wells, but go by the sovereign's highway until we have passed over your borders. But Sihon would not allow Israel to pass through the borders. So Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel in the wilderness. And he came to Yahatz and fought against Israel. And Israel struck him with the edge of the sword and took possession of his land from the Arnon to the Yabok, as far as the children of Ammon, for the border of the children of Ammon was strong. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon and in all its villages. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the sovereign of the Amorites, who had fought against the former sovereign of Moab, and had taken all his land from his hand, as far as the Arnon. That is why those who speak in Proverbs say, come to Heshbon, let the city of Sihon be built and established. For fire went out of Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It consumed Ar of Moab, the master of the heights of the Arnon. Woe to you, Moab! You have perished, O people of Chemosh. He has given his sons as fugitives and his daughters into captivity to Sihon, the sovereign of the Amorites. Then we shot them. Heshbon has perished as far as Dibon, and we laid waste as far as Nophahah, which reaches to Maidebah. So Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and Moshe sent to spy out Yazur, and they took its villages and drove out the Amorites who were there. And turned and went up by way of Bashan. And Og, sovereign of Bashan, went out against them. And all his people to battle at Edrei. And Yahweh said to Moshe, do not fear him, for I have given him into your hand. and all the people and his land. And you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwell at Heshbon. And they struck him and his sons and all the people until no remnant was left to him, and they took possession of his land. And the children of Israel set out and camped in the desert plains of Moab beyond the Jordan of Jericho. And Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab was exceedingly afraid of the people, because they were many, and Moab was in dread because of the children of Israel. And Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this company is licking up all that is around us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field. Now Balak, son of Zippor, was sovereign of the Moabites at that time, and he sent messengers to Balaam, son of Beor, at Perthor, which is near the river in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, see, a people has come from Mitzrayim. See, they have covered the surface of the land and are settling next to me. And now, please, come at once, curse this people for me, for they are too strong for me. It might be that I strike them and drive them out of the land, for I know that he whom you bless is blessed, and he who you curse is cursed. And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian left, with the fees for divination in their hand. And they came to Balaam, and spoke the words of Balak to him. And he said to them, spend the night here, and I shall bring back word to you, as Yahweh speaks to me. So the heads of Moab stayed with Balaam. And Elohim came to Balaam and said, who are these men with you? Sorry, the dog is really crazy tonight. And Balaam said to Elohim, Balak, son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab, has sent to me, saying, see, a people has come out of Mitzrayim, and covered the surface of the land. Come now, curse them for me. It might be that I am able to fight against them and drive them out. And Elohim said to Balaam, do not go with them. You do not curse the people, for they are blessed. And Balaam rose in the morning and said to the heads of Balak, go back to your land, for Yahweh has refused to allow me to go with you. And the heads of Moab arose and went to Balak and said, Balaam refuses to come with us. Then Balak again sent heads more numerous and more esteemed than they. And they came to Balaam and said to him, this is what Balak, son of Zippor, said. Do not be withheld from coming to me, please, for I esteem you very greatly, and whatever you say to me, I do. Therefore, please come, curse these people for me. And Balaam answered and said to the servants of Balak, though Balak were to give me this house filled with silver and gold, I am unable to go beyond the word of Yahweh my Elohim, to do less or more. And now please, you also stay here tonight and let me find out what more Yahweh says to me. And Elohim came to Balaam at night and said to him, if the men come to call you, rise up and go with them. But only the word which I speak to you, that you do. And Balaam rose in the morning and saddled his donkey and went with the heads of Moab. Boy, he didn't waste time, did he? But the displeasure of Elohim burned because he went. And the messenger of Yahweh stationed himself in the way as an adversary against him. And he was riding on his donkey, and 2 servants were with him. And the donkey saw the messenger of Yahweh standing in the way, and his drawn sword in his hand. And the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Balak struck the donkey. Zelig, stop. Sorry, guys. He is being really obnoxious at the moment. Zelig, move. Come on. Move, move. Where is your ball? Do you want to go inside? Fireworks were going off a minute ago. And he's a big dog, but he's a chicken. Come on, no, inside. I'll be right back. No. You stay. Okay, he's going to be noisy for a minute, but he'll get over it. Sorry about the interruption. Let's see. And now, please, you also stay here tonight and let me find. Oh, I did that one. But the displeasure of Elohim burned because he went, and the messenger of Yahweh stationed himself in the way as an adversary against him. And he was riding on his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. And the donkey saw the messenger of Yahweh standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand. And the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Balaam struck the donkey to turn her back onto the way. Then the messenger of Yahweh stood in a narrow passage between the vineyards, with a wall on his side and a wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the messenger of Yahweh, she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. So he struck her again. And the messenger of Yahweh went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn aside, right or left. And when the donkey saw the messenger of Yahweh, she laid down under Balaam. So Balaam's displeasure burned, and he struck the donkey with his staff. Then Yahweh opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you that you have stricken me these 3 times?" And Balaam said to the donkey, "Because you have mocked me. I wish there were a sword in my hand, for I would have killed you by now." And the donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your donkey on which you have ridden ever since I became yours to this day? Was I ever known to do so to you?" And he said, "No." Then Yahweh opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the messenger of Yahweh standing in the way of his drawn sword in his hand. And he bowed his head and fell on his face. And the messenger of Yahweh said to him, "Why have you struck your donkey these 3 times? See, I have come out to stand against you, because your way is reckless before me. And the donkey saw me and turned aside from me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, I certainly would have killed you by now and let her live." And Balaam said to the messenger of Yahweh, "I have sinned, for I did not know you stood in the way against me. And now, if evil is in your eye, let me turn back." And the messenger of Yahweh said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but only the words that I speak to you that you speak." Balaam then went with the heads of Balak. And when Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the city of Moab, which is on the border at the Arnon, which was in the extremities of the border. And Balak said to Balaam, "Did I not urgently send to you, calling for you? Why did you not come to me? Am I not able to esteem you?" And Balaam said to Balak, "See, I have come to you. Now I am at all able to say whatever." Let me redo that. That sounded weird in my head. Now, am I at all able to say whatever? That sounds better. The word that Elohim put in my mouth, that I speak. And Balaam went to Balak, and they came to Kiriath Hutzotha. And Balak slaughtered cattle and sheep, and he sent some to Balaam and to the heads who were with him. And it came to be in the morning that Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the high places of Baal, and from there he saw the extremities of the camp. And Balaam said to Balak, "Build 7 slaughter places for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here." And Balak did as Balaam had spoken. And Balak and Balaam offered a bull and a ram for each slaughter place. Balaam then said to Balak, "Stand by your ascending offering and let me go on. It might be that Yahweh does come to meet me, and whatever he shows me, I shall declare to you." And he went to a bare height. And Elohim came to Balaam, and he said to him, "I have prepared the 7 slaughter places, and I have offered on each slaughter place a bull and a ram." And Yahweh put a word in the mouth of Balaam and said, "Return to Balak, and this is what you say." And he returned to him and saw him standing by the ascending offerings, he and all the heads of Moab. And he took up his proverb and said, "Balak, the sovereign of Moab, has brought me from Arnon, from the mountains of the east. Come curse Yaakov for me, and come rage at Israel. How do I curse whom El has not cursed? And how do I rage at whom Yahweh has not raged? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I observe him. Look, a people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself among the nations. Who shall count the dust of Yaakov, and the number of 1/4 of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright, and let my end be like this." And Balak said to Balaam, "What have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and look, you have kept on blessing." And he answered and said, "Should I not take heed to speak what Yahweh has put in my mouth?" And Balak said to him, "Please come with me to another place from where you see them. You only see the extremities, but not all of them. Curse them for me from there." And he took him to the field of Zophrim, from the top of Pisgah, and built 7 slaughter places, and offered a bull and a ram on each slaughter place. And he said to Balak, "Stand here by your ascending offerings while I meet over there." And Yahweh came to Balaam and put a word in his mouth and said, "Go back to Balak and say this." So he went to him and saw him standing by the ascending offering, and the heads of Moab with him. And Balak asked him, "What did Yahweh say?" And he took up his proverb and said, "Rise up, Balak, and hear. Listen to me, son of Zippor. El is not a man to lie, nor a son of man to repent. Has he said, and would he not do it? Or spoken, and would not confirm it? See, I have received to bless, and he has blessed, and I do not reverse it. He has not looked upon wickedness in Yaakov, nor has he seen trouble in Israel. Yahweh his Elohim is with him, and the shout of a sovereign is in him. El, who brought them out of Mitzrayim, is for them like the horns of a wild ox. For there is no sorcery against Jacob, nor is there any divination against Israel. Now it is said to Jacob and to Israel, what has El done? Look, a people rises like a lioness and lifts itself up like a lion. It lies not down until it devours the prey and drinks the blood of the slain. And Balak said to Balaam, do not curse them at all, nor bless them at all. And Balaam answered and said to Balak, have I not spoken to you, saying, all that Yahweh speaks, that I do? And Balak said to Balaam, please come, let me take you to another place. It might be right in the eyes of Elohim that you curse them for me from there. And Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor that overlooks the wasteland. And Balaam said to Balak, build 7 slaughter places for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here. And Balak did as Balaam had said, and offered a bull and a ram on each slaughter place. And when Balaam saw that it pleased Yahweh to bless Israel, he did not go, as at other times, to seek to use sorcery, but to set his face toward the wilderness. And Balaam lifted up his eyes and saw Israel encamped according to their tribes. And the spirit of Elohim came upon him. And he took up his proverb and said, the saying of Balaam, son of Beor, and the saying of the man whose eyes are opened, the saying of him who hears the words of El, who sees the vision of the Almighty, who falls down with eyes wide opened. How good are your tents, O Yaakov, your dwellings, O Israel, like wadis that stretch out, like gardens by a river, like aloes planted by Yahweh, like cedars beside water. He makes water flow from his buckets, and his seed is in many waters. His sovereign is higher than Agag, and his reign is exalted. El, who brought him out of Mitzrayim, is for them like the horn of a wild ox. He devours nations, his enemies, and he breaks their bones, and with his arrows he smites. He bowed them. He lay down like a lion, and like a lion, who would rouse him? Blessed is he who blesses you, and cursed is he who curses you. Then the displeasure of Balak burned against Balaam, and he struck his hands together. Balak then said to Balaam, I summoned you to curse my enemies, and see, you have kept on blessing them these 3 times. And now flee to your place. I said I would greatly esteem you, and see, Yahweh has kept you back from esteem. And Balaam said to Balak, did I not also speak to your messengers, whom you sent to me, saying, if Balak should give me this house filled with silver and gold, I am unable to go beyond the word of Yahweh, to do either good or evil of my own heart. What Yahweh speaks, that I speak. And now, see, I am going to my people. Come, let me advise you what this people is going to do to your people in this latter days. And he took up his proverb and said, the saying of Balaam, son of Beor, the saying of the man whose eyes are opened, the saying of him who hears the words of El and knows the knowledge of the Most High, who sees the vision of the Almighty, who falls down with eyes opened wide. I see him, but not now. I observe him, but not near. A star shall come out of Yaakov, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and shall destroy all the sons of Sheth. And Edom shall be a possession, and Seir shall be a possession, enemies, and Israel is doing mightily. And out of Yaakov 1 shall rule, and destroy the remnant of Ar. He then looked on Amalek And he took up his proverb and said, Amalek was first among the nations, but his latter end is to perish forever. He then looked on the Canaanites, and he took up his proverb and said, Firm is your dwelling place, and your nest is set in the rock. But Can is to be burned. Till then does Ashur keep you captive. And he took up his proverb and said, Oh, who does live when El does this? The ships shall come from the coast of Kittim, and they shall afflict Ashur and afflict Eber, and he shall also perish. And Balaam arose and left, and returned to his place. And Balak also went away. And Israel dwelt in Shittim, and the people began to whore with the daughters of Moab. And they invited the people to the slaughterings of their mighty ones, and the people ate and bowed down to their mighty ones. Thus Israel was joined to Baal Peor, and the displeasure of Yahweh burned against Israel. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Take all the leaders of the people and hang them up before Yahweh, before the sun, so that the burning displeasure of Yahweh turns away from Israel. And Moshe said to the judges of Israel, Each one of you kill his men who have joined to Baal Peor. And see, one of the children of Israel came and brought to his brothers a Midianite woman before the eyes of Moshe and before the eyes of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping at the door of the tent of appointment. And when Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aharon the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a spear in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. Thus the plague among the children of Israel came to a stop. And those who died in the plague were 24,000. Okay, now we're going to go over to Micah chapter 5, starting in verse 7. That's going to be on page 622. And we're going to go through 6, verse 8. And the remnant of Yaakov shall be in the midst of many peoples, as dew from Yahweh, as showers on the grass, which do not wait for man, nor delay for the sons of men. And the remnant of Yaakov shall be among the nations, in the midst of many peoples, like a lion among the beasts of the forest, like a young lion among flocks of sheep, who, if he passes through, shall both tread down and shall tear, and there is no one to deliver. Lest your hand be lifted up against your adversaries, and all your enemies be cut off. And it shall be in that day, declares Yahweh, that I shall cut off your horses out of your midst, and I shall destroy your chariots, and I shall cut off the cities of your land, and I shall put down all your strongholds, and I shall cut off witchcrafts out of your hands, and let you have no magicians, and I shall cut off your carved images and your pillars from their midst, so that you no longer bow down to the work of your hands. And I shall pluck your Asherim out of your midst, and I shall destroy your cities, and I shall take vengeance in wrath and rage on the nations who did not obey. Hear now what Yahweh is saying. Arise, strive with the mountains, and let the hills hear your voice. Hear, O you mountains, the controversy of Yahweh, and you everlasting foundations of the earth. For Yahweh has a controversy with his people, and he shall reprove Israel. My people, what have I done to you? And how have I worried you? Answer me, for I brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim, and I ransomed you from the house of bondage. And I sent Moshe, Aharon, and Miriam before you. My people, remember, please, what Balak, sovereign of Moab, counseled, and what Bilam, son of Beor, answered him from Shittim to Gilgal, in order to know the righteousness of Yahweh. With what shall I come before Yahweh? Bow myself before the high Elohim? Shall I come before him with ascending offerings, with calves a year old? Is Yahweh pleased with thousands of ram or 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, or fruit of my body for the sins of my being? He has declared to you, O man, what is good. And what does Yahweh require of you? But to do right and to love, loving commitment, and to walk humbly with your Elohim. The voice of Yahweh cries in the city, and let sound wisdom see your name. Hear the rod of him who appointed it. No. I went one verse over. So I went on through verse 9. So we'll go ahead and list that in the sheet here. Now we are going to trying to hurry up because it's sun's starting to go down, and I want to get this posted before Shabbat gets here. So we are going to 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 14, which is on page 1189, and we're going to read verses 14 to the end of the chapter. I'm going to back up to verse 12, because it starts in the middle of the sentence, and I don't like that. It leaves out things that, just doesn't feel right. But these, like natural unreasoning beasts, have been born to be caught and destroyed. Blaspheme that which they do not know, shall be destroyed in their destruction, being about to receive the wages of unrighteousness, deemed indulgence in the day of pleasure, spots and blemishes, reviling in their own deceptions, while they feast with you, having eyes filled with an adulteress, and unable to cease from sin, enticing unstable beings, having a heart trained in greed, children of a curse. Having left the right way, they went astray, having followed the ways of Bilam, the son of Beor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness. But he was rebuked for his transgression. A dumb donkey, speaking with the voice of a man, restrained the madness of the prophet. These are fountains without water, clouds driven by a storm, to whom the blackest darkness is kept forever. For speaking arrogant nonsense, they entice, through the lust of the flesh, through indecencies, the ones who have indeed escaped from those living in delusion, promising them freedom, though themselves being slaves of corruption. For one is a slave to whatever overcomes him. For if, after they have escaped the defilements of the world through the knowledge of the Master and Savior, Yeshua Messiah, they are again entangled in them and overcome, and later end is worse for them than the first. For it would have been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than having known it, to turn from the set apart command delivered unto them. For them, the proverb has proved true. A dog returns to his own vomit, and washed sow returns to her rolling in. A washed sow returns to her rolling in the mud. Now we're going to take chapter 3. We're going to turn the page and do verses 17 and 18. You then, beloved one, being forewarned, watch, lest you also fall from your own steadfastness, being led away with the delusions of the lawless. But grow in the favor and knowledge of your Master, the Savior, Yeshua Messiah. To him be the esteem, both now and to a day that abides. Amen. And that is our Torah portion for this week. I pray that you have a wonderful, restful Shabbat. Spend it with family, with friends, with brothers, with sisters. Walk with Yah. Shabbat Shalom.